we're just at a site called Cashtal on the Isle of Man, and this is one of the most impressive burial chambers, especially for its location. It's connected with King Ori again, that's kind of its original name, but since then they've realized it's much older and goes back to Neolithic times, to potentially 3000 BC, and you can see this beautiful curved forecourt. So the chamber is oriented just to the north of west, so it has some kind of sunset alignment, or the other direction is obviously sunrise. But here, back in the 1800s, they found some very interesting bones of a young person in this western end that I'm standing in now, but also some bones that were so large they couldn't believe they were of humans. So they were talking about a skull, some leg bones and some other bones, and where these are we don't know. It was just reported briefly in this account from the 1800s when it was partly excavated, but this was once covered in stones like a cairn, all the way back the whole length of the burial chamber, with multiple chambers throughout it. Cashtal is a Neolithic chambered long cairn that it's called. It's pretty interesting. Various excavations from 1884, when the so-called giant bones were discovered, all the way up to 1933. They kind of replaced some of the stones, but it's pretty much in the same condition. I'm fascinated by this curved forecourt because of the similarities with Belisnat, with tombs in Scotland and Ireland, and also those in Sardinia. East of the forecourt, about 2/3 of the way along the cairn, there was a mass of burnt stones on a raised area of kind of what they call stone flags that had been reddened by the heat. Now this may have been a cremation platform, so it could be, you know, where they burnt the dead and then placed them in here. And this is similar to a site called Ballyfail, where cremation was also discovered. It's very interesting, you know, because it's like a triangular entrance with a beautiful quartzite area, which to me suggests this was some kind of energy site. They were working with the energies here. The location is remarkable, and the inner face of the northern left stone bears slight traces of cut marks. So we're going to have a look closely at that in a moment. So on one of these stones there are supposed to be cut marks. Now I can't really tell if these are actually cut marks or they're just chips on the stone. Let's go around and have a look more closely. He said it was like on the northern face, which is kind of this area here. You got some kind of shaping on the stone here. I noticed that when we came in, it looks like it's been cut and shaped as though to create some kind of almost like a anamorphic figure, whereas these ones may have cut marks on them as well. Can't really see in this light. We've got a large kind of indentation down at the bottom there. We've got the quartz at the top on the other side. But yeah, this is kind of, can't see these cut marks. I can see other kind of markings. No clear cut marks. There are others potentially on here, but yeah, difficult to see. They said they were very faded. So, but yeah, still a very fascinating site. Whether they were added later during the Bronze Age, we don't know, but this is something we find all over the world, from Tiwanaku, Göbekli Tepe, all through Scotland and other places. So yeah, it's a really interesting site. It's a classic kind of, you know, burial site. When to me, from above, it looks like a bull's head, much like we find with the giants' graves of Sardinia. So whether this was classed as a giant's grave, whether it actually was a giant's grave, I find really interesting, because they found these bones here, which do suggest that was the case, and also it's the same shape as the giants' graves on Sardinia. So well worth a visit if you come here. Let's just get a close-up of this amazing quartz here on top, because this is like special. We do get a lot of quartz on the Isle of Man, but this piece here, which you would have gone, it would have been above your head as you entered here, whether you were alive or dead at the time. To appreciate it, I don't know. So pieces of bone were found in the westernmost compartment of the chamber, in the least disturbed areas under the sloping slide slabs. Apparently they found portions of a skull of a young person, it said, and other fragments in the cyst at the eastern end where portions of bone were found. The bones were now apparently went to the Manx Museum. So apparently there were bones of the epiphysis, skull, long bones and other such things, but they were said to be too large to be human, and their condition suggested they were probably relatively modern. Now, neither pieces of the skull, the teeth or the bones were found in 1933 when the museum was being kind of cleaned up and transferred. So we have something very strange going on here. So we're just at the eastern end of the chamber here where some of the bones were found. We also had, with these stones behind me here, we also had some found at the other end in the western area. And this is fascinating. So we have evidence of actual giant bones which were claimed to be too large to be human found at this site. So this is a giant's grave, even though it's not called that. So it's been a great visit. It's been a beautiful afternoon. We've sent the drone up. We've got some beautiful shots. And it really is a pristine, wonderful site, and I do recommend you definitely come and visit here because this has got a story about it. There's now giant stories attached to this site.